Good evening, everyone. How are we doing this evening? As we know, this is just few hours to the nationwide protest and bad governance. How are you preparing? As we discussed before, it is going to be successful, and every demand laid down by the protesters must be met before we are going to leave the streets. So, this is breaking that the northern elders, stakeholders, laid 7 demands before Tinubu back and bad governance in Nigeria protest. Now, this is very important. I made a video yesterday, right, telling you people that Tinubu will be disappointed, that people will abandon Tinubu. Because no matter how you try to convince people not to protest, the reality of hunger on ground is going to push them outside to go and start protesting. A lot of people are not safe in their homes. I think they feel that they will be safe in the street. So if we are not safe at home, in the street must be safe for us. So a lot of people are coming out in the street because of frustration. So if people are telling you that this protest is politically motivated, I am not a card-carrying member of any political party, but you know what? I love this protest. I like the way it is coming like this, because that is the only language that the government understands. Now, Shara Reporters is just publishing this one, that the Northern Elder Stakeholders laid 7 demands before Tinubu back and bad governance in Nigerian protest. The article reads, some elders and stakeholders in the northern Nigeria have announced their full support for the planned nationwide hunger protest tagged End Bad Governance in Nigeria, scheduled to hold from August 1 to 10. That is August 1st to 10. The elders and the stakeholders who made their position known in a statement signed by Professor Osman Yusuf, Hajia Najatu Mohammed, Madam Salihu Lukman, and Dr. Omar Ado also made 7 demands to the President Bola Tinubu-led Nigerian government. In the statement obtained by Shara Reporters on Wednesday, the northern elders and stakeholders said that Nigeria had long been facing unprecedented challenges of insecurity, excruciating poverty, illiteracy, unemployment, diseases, high cost of living, all on account of bad governance and corruption in public offices. They said, we acknowledge that the primary purpose of the government is to secure life and property and enhance the welfare of its citizens. Any regime that cannot guarantee the basic rights loses all legal and moral authority of being in power and would naturally incur the wrath of citizens. It can therefore only remain in office more by default than by public consent. This seems to be the state our dear country Nigeria is drifting towards. Over the years, successive governments at all levels, including the incumbent ones, fell short of delivering the requisite leadership. Consequently, Nigerians have been thrown into a state of social dislocation that has plunged citizens, especially the youth, into disillusionment, disappointment, frustration, and hopelessness. To press home their legitimate demands concerning the cost of living crisis, insecurity, and the worrisome drift in the shift of the state, Nigerian youths have resolved to go on a 10-day nationwide protest from the 1st to 10th of August 2024. We therefore wrote this special text to state our position concerning this resolve to protest and the attitude of the government to it. First, we want to affirm the constitutionally protected right of all citizens to assemble and to protest. We also acknowledge that the cause for protest against the system is valid and justifiable. We wish to state clearly that we firmly stand by our youth in their resolve to exercise their right to protest. Secondly, we call on the federal government to be pragmatic in its approach to the resolution of the crisis if the hopes to amicably resolve and mitigate the risk associated with the mass protests. They said, to this end, we recommend that the government immediately takes the following steps: engage in dialogue, identify and direct engage with the youth leaders and protesters to understand and address their grievances, outsourcing their responsibility to others, such as traditional religious, labor, civil society leaders, is not going to work. Hear that? The use of state force to intimidate, cajole, and harass protesters can only further escalate an already volatile situation. We have recently seen that in the NSAS protest, engagement remains the best and most effective solution. Implement reforms, sincerely address the demands of the protesters by implementing meaningful reforms and demonstrating goodwill and a commitment to change. Well, there are lists of things that the northern elders are writing that they really need from Tinubu. But the main point is that these people said they are in support of the protest, that they are backing their youth. that they don't want government to come against their youth. This is how elders are supposed to be. This is how elders are supposed to behave. This is how elders are supposed to do things. Not in a situation where people will come out and government will begin to shoot them when they have elders who are supposed to protect them. Gone are those days. I really like what the northern elders are doing. Just imagine when people from the southeast, the IPOBs, wanted to start protesting before. Just imagine if they have the support of their elders like this. I think everything could have gone well with them. Government could have listened to what they demanded right from time. So I really think the elders of the Northern Forum and their leadership, what they are doing is amazing the world. And as I speak to you now, there is an emergency meeting going on with the Senate. I don't really know what they are discussing, but the rumor has it that they are discussing about the constitutional amendment, which is part of what we are demanding. In fact, number one thing we are demanding during this protest. So I believe everything is going to be fine. But you know what? Come out tomorrow and protest. Go to anywhere. I have discovered that I think only Imo State that is having problem about this protest because of the shooting in Imo State right now. Every other state in Nigeria, they are protesting. Know for where they will conveil, where they are going to start, and join them. This is a battle of no retreat, no surrender. We are not going to back off. We are not leaving the street until all our demands are met. There is no going back about it. So do not be afraid of anybody. There is no one that is going to kill you. There is no one that is going to shoot you. I have seen a lot of people complaining of intimidation from the traditional rulers, from so many talks sponsored by the government and the traditional rulers. The only thing I have to tell you is that don't worry. Tomorrow we will know who owns the street. Tomorrow we will know who owns the jungle. Have patience. Forget about what they are doing, how they are trying to intimidate people before the protest. This protest is a historic protest, a historic one. And we are not going to back down to it. God is going to help us. So hold your head high. Don't let anyone to intimidate you. Okay? Don't let anyone to intimidate you. It is your right to protest. The only places, all these people are flexing muscle are the southern states of Nigeria. You can't go to the north and begin to try all this rubbish. After all, you can see how I read out how the northern elders are supporting their people. So it's going to go down tomorrow. And at the end, may the struggle of our dear comrades, ourselves, those who will sacrifice everything that they have because of this protest, may their labor never be in vain. You know the point? You know how happy everyone in Nigeria will be, both the north, south, east, west, if we have a new constitution by the people, and we have a chapter that contain and accommodate the clause of a referendum, where the people can decide whether they will stay in one country or not. You know the joy that will be there. If you talk like this, people say it's not going to happen. They won't allow it to happen. It's because we have been so coward. We have been so coward. We have been so dormant. Until we arise and let these people know whom we are, they will continue to oppress us. But you know what? The time has come, and there is no going back about this. Anyway, see you tomorrow in goodwill.
Okay, Chief Ulasi, let's talk about the protests.
Yes.
Which have already started and which people have given us the official date of August 1. What will you say to President Tinubu? What will you say to the protesters? You say, yes, people have grievances. But do you think that these protests, in the long run, there is something that can be done about it? Will you join the traditional rulers, the clerics, the imams, who have all been appealing to Nigerians not to go to the streets?
You see, Ruben, my feeling is that you don't go from fire pan to fire. We're already at a very dangerous age, at the precipice. If the appeal being made by the president and governors and traditional rulers who suddenly woke up from sleep, they don't know what the problems are in Nigeria. I don't think any of these traditional rulers are here. They live in luxury, in stupendous luxury. I don't think even the people they rule, they don't know how poor they are, how hungry they are. Because if they did, they would have, about 6 months ago, started ordinarily advising government. Advising. Today, here a group of traditional rulers went to Buhari to say, our people are hungry. Please do something about it. Suddenly, because the people want to express their view, they all suddenly became patriotic Nigerians. That is not the issue. The people protesting are not anti-Nigerian. They're just saying we are hungry. We want to emphasize, to tell people that we are hungry. That's what protest is all about. And like I said when I started, every protest is about unresolved grievance. the grievance of stomach infrastructure. That is the summary of the protest. Because when I go to my village, I come from a very privileged town in this country, that many people are very comfortable. But today I go to Newi, if I go in with X amount of money, I'll eventually look for money to go back. That tells me that there's a serious problem. That is a serious problem. If my town could have that kind of problem, I then imagine what is happening all across this country. So protest becomes inevitable. But the way you handle it, because I don't know whom the letters are, but somebody had come up, a senior advocate, saying he's representing the protesters. So government should use day and night to sort out this problem so that it does not escalate. Nobody anticipates what is going to happen. But this is a country, like I said, it's not a function of statistics. Anything can happen. People can undermine, people can infiltrate it and use it for their own selfish interests. Because looking at what happened recently in Kenya, I don't want that to happen in my country.
Okay, so Chief Lassie, and I love how you've just tracked his journey. So it didn't just happen to him.
No, overnight, no.
Is it not then a bit concerning that despite his strategy to being president, after getting this much, desired position, he hasn't seemed to handle it in a way that you would imagine someone who's planned for many years too, especially looking at the state of the economy currently.
Yes.
You've talked about the state of security, you've talked about waste in government and how, just the largesse and just the insensitivity to the people and how they spend, lavish spending. What is the disconnect there? You would imagine that someone who planned for so many years to be president and now has attained that or achieved that would have had a plan in place as well as to what he will do when he comes into office. Are you impressed by it?
I will tell you one mistake he made. When he was in campaign, he said he will continue from the good works of Muhammadu Buhari. That was the major mistake he made. But it was a positive mistake because it helped him to be president. He didn't want to antagonize the North. He needed the support of Buhari in the North, and he got it. So one would have blamed every shortcoming this government is experiencing now on the 8 years of Buhari, because we hadn't government for 8 years. That was a tragedy. A Nigerian tragedy was a man called Muhammadu Buhari. I had an interview on Channels TV 2015, and I said he was not fit to be a local government chairman. I said it. I said, watch him, he can't read a file, because I met him as chairman of PTF with my late brother, Major General Sam Moma. And for 20-25 minutes in his office in Abuja, I said, God, help this country. This was a man managing billions of naira that Abacha put him. That was a compensation for the overthrow of his government after 15 months.